The recent release of Rimworld's newest expansion, Biotech, has introduced some really cool new features. The two that stuck out to me the most were the new mechanitor pawn, who can control an army of mechs to do their bidding, and children. I wanted to try out one of Biotech's new starting scenarios called the mechanitor, which starts you off with a single pawn and 2 worker mechs. But I added a little twist to it. Raising a child on a desolate Rimworld would be a difficult task, but what about raising 5 at the same time? 2 men and a few mechs working together, trying to safely raise 5 babies to adulthood. Can it be done? Or will Randy have something else in mind? Oh no! Oh. This is Eric with Pixel Rookie, and this is my story of the mechanitor daycare. Like I said before, this scenario usually starts you off with a single pawn who controls a construction bot and a hauling bot. Meet Caretaker, our mechanitor. But tending to 5 babies is pretty much a full-time job itself. Without the help of another pawn, I wouldn't even be able to get the foundation of a base started. Goodman is incapable of violence and a slowpoke, but otherwise he has decent stats, and most importantly, he'll be able to help share the load with Caretaker raising the babies. As soon as the drop pod landed, the first priority was getting cribs for the little ones. Starting with no wood, 5 steel cribs were ordered to be built. Wooden walls were planned for a small starting structure to house everyone. The 2 mech helpers got to work immediately while Caretaker fed the babies one at a time. Goodman worked on chopping trees for wood so they could wall in their nursery. By noon, they already had their initial room built and all the children had a crib to sleep in. The rest of the day was spent feeding the babies and getting beds made for Caretaker and Goodman. The first day was successful, and the beauty of a mechanitor is that while the mechs had energy stored in their batteries, they would continue working day and night. For some reason, only Harrison and Barbara had actual names. The other 3 babies were just named Baby, but we can deal with that later. Oh, but look how cute the babies are.
We must protect them at all costs.
With limited food supplies and a lot of mouths to feed, a growing zone was placed on nearby fertile land to start growing rice sooner rather than later. Because the mech workers had limited energy, we needed to generate electricity fast to keep them running. A wind turbine, a mech recharger, and a mech gestator would be built next. This would let Caretaker grow his mech army. And, 4 of the 5 babies are already starving. With the mech gestator being completed, the first priority would be to gestate a militator bot, which would help provide some extra security. And the first event is cargo pods dropping nearby, with over 200 chem fuel. Let's go! Obviously, a chem fuel generator was a no-brainer at this point to help power the base. Caretaker filled the gestator with supplies to create their first militator, and in 2.4 days, their first security bot would be ready. On the 5th day, they decided to name their faction and base. With the power of randomization, they would henceforth be known as the Alendo Treaty, and their home was called Strengthtown? Perfect. Most of their time was still spent feeding the babies while their mechs continued to expand their settlement. The next day, they were attacked by their first raid, a single raider with a club. Conveniently, the militator bot finished gestating. Caretaker released it from the gestation chamber, and it was time to unleash the true power of the mechanitor. Go forth and destroy Minya! Crap, it's out of command range. I forgot the drafted mechs have to be within a certain radius of the mechanitor, so Caretaker will have to lead it into battle. A success! Later that night, a wild man wandered into the area. A naked pigskin man named Sausage? Seriously? I love it. Actually, Sausage's stats aren't too bad either. We're gonna try and tame that. Goodman brought the berries with him, the good stuff. He's really bringing his A game here, trying to tame Sausage, and he failed with a 16% chance of success. Oh. A few days later, a new quest appeared for a fleeing praetor. Accepting this would allow Caretaker to wield psychic powers, which would be nice. They accepted the quest, and Galera immediately entered the area. Moments later, a man-hunting raccoon appeared. A single raccoon. That's what he was running from? Alright. The rescue shuttle arrived and Galera departed immediately. With that being a success, the Shattered Empire was ready to come down and grant Caretaker a fancy title, and more importantly, bestow him with psychic powers. Dang, these boys be packing some heat. A ceremony was done in the nursery, and once it was completed, they went back on their merry way. The next day, a few goats joined, which would be nice for milk and potential meat if rations got too low. 10 days in, and they already used up almost 3/4 of their baby food. It was very important that they didn't run out of food for the children. Speaking of which, crap. A few days later, the next mech finished the gestation process. This was an agrihand, basically a gardening bot which would ensure that the growing zones were properly tended to and trees would be chopped for extra wood. This would leave Caretaker and Goodman to prioritize the other tasks, like making sure the babies aren't starving. The toxic waste pack has deteriorated. Well, that's a problem for another day. Starvation? Again? son of a... Goodman finally recruited Sausage to the colony, which would be a huge help. The only issue is that Sausage was incapable of caring, which meant he wouldn't be able to help take care of the little ones. But another helping hand would be huge for Strengthtown. 5 days later, a new quest appeared for a deserter to join the colony, but it was being hunted by one trooper. It seemed like a no-brainer to accept, and Paleologa joined the colony. She was a decent fighter and crafter, but was also incapable of caring, but would still be a welcomed addition to Strengthtown. And she was packing an LMG. Nice. Moments later, the Lone Raider arrived and was attacking immediately. It was time for Caretaker to unleash the wrath of his robotic soldier. Wait, what the crap? The Militator ran out of batteries and was just laying there, completely useless. Great. Paleologa distracted the Raider while Caretaker ran flank. They were able to take the Raider down easily enough, and I didn't think they were a good enough pawn to try to capture. Sausage got some nice new gear and helped clean up the Raider issue. Looking at I'm just gonna call her Pal. Looking at Pal, she was only slightly wounded from the fight, and I noticed she had a death acidifier. I'm sure that won't be a problem in the future. Caretaker was the only somewhat competent cook with a skill of 4, and with him being distracted from the raids, they were completely out of baby food. I'm so sorry, little ones. It was easy enough to cook more though, and the babies were still doing just fine. I promise.
Hi there, it's Eric with Pixel Rookie, Baby Edition. If you're enjoying this video, maybe consider liking it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Back to the video.
2 months passed in game and a transport pod crashed nearby. It was an Edakin named Wenshush, and he had a few pretty decent skills.
I want that.
Caretaker took care of Wenshush on the spot and proceeded to show some hospitality by taking him to a nice makeshift prison cell so they could work on recruiting him. Meanwhile, Strengthtown in its current state was pretty random, unorganized, and very flammable. To better protect the children, a new base made out of stone would be built slightly north and they would eventually transition over once it was ready. Another constructoid was gestated to help with the new building project, and still, Goodman and Caretaker were the only 2 colonists who could tend to the children, which was still a very time-consuming task. Sausage slowly worked on bringing down Wenshush's resistance, but it was going to take a bit longer to fully work that pigman charm. A nearby steel mining worksite was located, and with the plans to expand their base, extra steel would definitely help. Caretaker had 2 militar bots now, and Sausage planned to come along too, just in case. It was less than half a day of traveling, and they arrived. Hello, steel miners. Oh, well, I guess it served its purpose as cannon fodder. That's 1 down. And that's 2. A successful raid. A nice thing about these mech soldiers is that they can also be resurrected in the gestation chamber, so they'll bring its body back. Otherwise, it's time to claim the fruits of their labor. Ah, crap. Looks like they can only carry like 30% of the available steel because of how few of them are in the caravan. Oops. It's a shame they couldn't build a cleaning bot because their dining hall had seen better days. That evening, a warg began hunting Pow, which is definitely not good. It's okay though. Caretaker would summon the strength of his remaining Seriously? The warg downed Pow instantly, and Caretaker stepped in before it could kill her. Unfortunately, it didn't like getting shot at while eating and lunged at Caretaker. Sausage joined the fight, allowing Caretaker to fall back and shoot over his shoulder as he held the line. The 2 of them dropped it quickly enough. Pow didn't have much time before bleeding out, but Caretaker was able to tend to her right away, so she'd be totally fine. Heck. And of course, during all this chaos, all 5 babies were starving. I'm sorry, babies. Honestly, the infection and immunity are a little too close for comfort. This is gonna be cutting it close. Thank goodness. They received a request a few days later to keep 2 prisoners for 20 days, and the reward would give Caretaker a new psychic skill. It seemed worth it. Their new guests arrived and they were sent to their 5-star resort with Wenshush. I mean, who wouldn't want to stay there? The next day, one of the new guests went berserk and attacked Wenshush. It didn't go well for her. Oh, the babies. Every single one of them were starving again. But wouldn't you know it, 3 months after landing here, the babies finally grew into children. It was a great moment for Strengthtown, and the best part was that all 5 of them could now clean and haul items at the base.
Yeah, boy.
For some reason, everyone but Barber had their names changed. We now have Grunt, Barber, Deadeye, Ford, and Beast. A lovely group of little Strengthtown tots. Children are much better than babies. They would pass the time keeping the base clean and making little chalk drawings on the floors. Being able to feed themselves was a huge burden taken off Caretaker and Goodman too. Oh boy, with everything going on, the prisoners might have been a little bit neglected, and one of their newest guests accidentally starved to death. Oops. So much for that quest. Sausage was finally able to recruit Wenshush to join the colony. This was a great addition to strength. Whoa, wait a second. No, stop that. You gotta be kidding me. The first thing when Shush did was get in a social fight with Caretaker, and he destroyed his entire right leg? With a destroyed leg, Caretaker would be moving much more slowly, which sucks since the militars had to stay close to him during combat. Wait, when Shush is a female? The short hair and unisex beard threw me off a little bit. 3 raiders showed up the next day and were given the Strength Town welcome package. A few days later, another raid appeared and they spawned right by the poor defenseless Agrahand. Poor little guy. Because of his destroyed leg, Caretaker and the militars were behind, catching up to Pow and Sausage. And Caretaker had a mental break, which means the militar bots couldn't be moved close enough to the fighting. Oh, and they caught Sausage and Pow on fire with a Molotov. So it looks like the militars were able to get close enough to help out before Caretaker dipped out, which is good since Sausage is running around on fire. One of the raiders were finally incapacitated and the other one began to flee, but didn't make it very far. Another job wait, what the? Why is there another raider in my base? And why is Caretaker incapacitated? What the heck? Pow took him out, but maybe I should have actually read the raid message next time where it says, approaching from multiple angles. Oops. And he has an infection now. Great. Caretaker was the colony's main doctor, but Goodman will be able to help him out. And that was a 0% quality 10 to his infection. I'm gonna be honest, this isn't looking good. No boy. I sort of put all my eggs in one basket with Caretaker since he was the mechanitor and psycaster. That might have been a bit of a mistake. We couldn't let that mech link go to waste though. When Shush took the liberty of digging it out of Caretaker's head and stripped him down, we could still use that airwire headset after all. Pow buried Caretaker and Strengthtown gathered together to mourn their colony's first casualty. No time to waste though. Pow was the most capable colonist in Strengthtown now, and she would take the mech link and become the new mechanitor. In order to control more mechs, she took Caretaker's airwire headset too. Another steel mining camp was discovered and they needed more, so Pow's first order of business as a new mechanitor was to take the children on a little field trip. They left the map, and immediately after, the colony was raided. Thanks, Randy. And this time I know they're approaching from multiple angles. With Pal and her militar bots gone, it was up to Sausage and Washush to deal with them. And this one gave them 3 glitter robe medicine. Goodman used one on Washush to tend her wounds from the fight. Pal's caravan arrived at the steel mine site later that day, and the children were ordered to stay back while she cleaned house. Last time, they only had enough carry capacity to haul a little bit of the steel home. The children were old enough that they could help haul, so they were able to take all the resources back with them this time. A few days later, when Shush had a mental break and went berserk, she was going around killing the constructoid bots nearby, so they helped calm her down. Jeez. Another few days passed and a transport pod crashed nearby. The survivor was Goodman's brother. Goodman patched his bro up and then captured him to be a prisoner like a good brother should. On the 15th of April, they received an interesting proposition. If they defeated a manhunter pack of 10 foxes, they would receive a Psylink neuroformer, which would allow Pow to become a psycaster. It seemed like a good deal, so they accepted and prepared the defenses in their new base. The militars did a good job holding the line, and none of them were completely destroyed. The mission was a big success, and as Pow moved in to use the neuroformer to form a Psylink, I noticed something.
What the crap? Oh no! No. Oh. Oh no! Shoot! Oh, Barber.
It turned out they got a psycaster at the cost of one of their children. A poor trade if you ask me. Pal took some time to bury poor Barber next to Caretaker. It was a huge blow to their morale losing one of their children like this. They're going to be much more careful moving forward.
Oh no! No, save him! No! Shoot! Dang it.
Okay, so that was really unfortunate about Deadeye dying, but at least a wandering cave explorer offered to join the colony named Muther, and honestly, they could really use another helping hand. Muther was incapable of violence, like Goodman, but he had excellent mining skills. Sausage buried Deadeye, and they held a memorial service for Barber. Then Deadeye. A double header. A few hours later, they were raided again. The raiders were killed without any issue, and this time, they swore they would protect the remaining 3 children, and when Shush went berserk again.
Oh no! What the? No! You bastard!
when Shush literally beheaded Grunt because she was malnourished? She was hungry, so naturally she murders one of the 3 remaining children. Great. The goon squad got together and, subdued her. Well, that was just unfortunate. You got a lot of nerve showing up to the funeral like this. So during all this mess, Goodman's brother, Hayo, just wasn't letting us recruit him to the colony, so we did the next best thing and enslaved him. Goodman and Hayo seemed totally okay with this brotherly arrangement. So a while back, we found this joy wire implant that makes the pawn a little, how should we say it, less focused, but it keeps him happy, preventing mental breaks that might end up murdering children. So he scheduled an operation for when Shush to have one of these bad boys implanted in her brain. Muther now had the highest doctoring skills, so he carefully performed the operation with surgeon-like precision, and he failed. Dang it! Well, when Shush has certainly seen better days. On the 9th of Jugust, a heat wave came through, but they already had the air conditioning installed. Are you serious? Okay, so this heat wave was serious business. Hayo collapsed from a heat stroke. Goodman collapsed from a heat stroke. Are you kidding me? Muther died from the heat stroke. What the heck? Oh man. Hayo also died from the heat stroke. What is happening? The freezer coolers were opened up to the rest of the base, which made 4 AC units total, and this still happened. Both Goodman and one of the last 2 remaining children, Ford, were still experiencing extreme heat stroke too. Passive coolers were installed in their rooms to help try and combat the incredibly high temperatures, and it looked like it was finally regulating. It only killed 2 of my colonists before working itself out. Great. The heat wave passed. Instead, a toxic fallout hit the area. Lovely. They were pretty much confined to the base at this point. They had 5 militars and a few good gunmen. The only way they'd be able to unlock new mechanoid technology would be summoning the first of 3 mechanoid bosses to the area to fight it, the Diabolus. I really wanted to see what the next tier of mechs were capable of, and now seemed like as good a time as any to summon it, destroy it, and reap the rewards from its death. So Pow used the orbital comms to summon it. They were notified that it was coming and that they were to be prepared. And prepared they were. And, still nothing. Will arrive in the next few hours or days. Oh, okay then. If I didn't think I had enough firepower already, there was an event for some visitors requesting to stay with us, which meant extra help when the Diabolus arrived. 2 days later, and it finally arrived. Instead of letting it approach their base, they would fight it in the open field. Okay, so it can move and shoot at the same time. That's not good. It's charging a big shot. Move, 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 move! Actually pretty easy to dodge as long as my pods don't get oh, wait. Oh, that's not good. That blast instantly killed Pow, and I didn't really consider it prior, but remember how she had that death acidifier? Well, that meant that all of her gear, including the mech link, was completely disintegrated. I also did consider that if she dies and the mech link disintegrates, the bulk of the army is now just aimlessly wandering about, not fighting, which means their numbers went from 9 to 2 in that single blast. This might have been a mistake. When Shush was downed. And Sausage too. Ford and Goodman were trying to sneak through the toxic fallout to rescue their wounded comrades. And of course the pathing makes them run right past the Diabolus. Goodman, what are you doing? He somehow got past it without getting hurt. That's impressive. There was very little time to tend to those two, but when Shush died before Goodman could get to her. Oh geez, this is like straight out of a horror movie. The base was compromised and the children had to leave. Goodman wasn't able to save Sausage. Nobody was left who could fight. It was over. Time to pack it in, kids. They were moving to the tile next door. And Beast decided to walk right past the mechs as she was leaving. Great. I accidentally left the automatic toggle for travel supplies, so they actually returned to the base to grab some snacks for the road. Come on. Let's try that again. Goodman had to try and save Beast. He had to protect the children. And Ford got hit too. Crap. The last 3 survivors found themselves in a pretty bad situation as they tried to hide in the barn. It wasn't going great. Goodman tried to save Ford and got down too. This was the end. Ooh, what's this? Okay, well maybe the man in black can help them escape. Unfortunately, Ford died. I guess shooting a child with a giant laser cannon does that sometimes. The man in black took Beast and was going to try to escape with her. Oh, that is unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. So funny story about this. You see, on the 6th of September, when Pal summoned the Diabolus, I thought it would come more quickly. So 2 days have already passed and nothing happened. I thought it was bugged, so I had her summon a second one. Yeah. Oops. Phil was bleeding out and Goodman died, but Beast was able to walk again. Well, yeah, there it is. Mistakes were made and lessons were learned. I took a moment to reflect on Strength Town as the 2 Diabolus mechs burn it to the ground. If my hubris didn't get the better of me, I think at least a couple of the children would have made it to adulthood. Man, I love this game. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. More content to come in the future. A big thanks to all my patrons who are generously helping support the channel. I really appreciate it. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, have a good one.